In our last episode, we were able to have this page having the list group like this, and so in this episode I would like us to go ahead and be able to modify and display the questions together with their answers. And what I would like us to do is to display one question at a time and expect the user to be able to give us the answers. And so our questions are being passed with answers from the backend, and so we can be able to get the questions by having a declaring props. So const props, and from the backend we are getting the props which have questions. So in this case we are going to say questions object, that is the data type, like that. And since the questions in this case we anticipate to have many questions, we only require to have one question at a time. So I want us to just check the index of the question. So in this case I want to have a constant here which we are going to call current index. So the current question index or something, and we are going to use ref, and we will set it at 0. And then I need also to import ref from view. Such that we can be able to use it here. And then after that, once we have the current index, I also want us to have the current question. So we are going to set up another constant current question. Or maybe the current question, probably we can return it as a computed property, and we can be able to do it like this. And so what we are going to do is that we can be able to just check the current index. So we can say const current question. We are going to use a computed property. We are going to say computed. We will use the arrow function, and inside here we are just going to say return props dot questions, and then we will check this current index. So if we are referring to it, we are going to write current index dot value, like that, and this will be able to get for us the current question. Let me just change this to be capital such that we have it in that camel case. And now I can be able to display the current question. So we are going to use one of the list group items, and in this case this list group heading. So here is where I would like, I think it's the first one, yes, it's where I would like us to have our question. So I can just put it like this and say current question dot question. The reason why I am doing it like that is because if we go to our controller, and in this case our controller is the quiz controller, and we, instead of returning view, we just return the query, or in other words the questions. In that object, what we are having is that there is something that we call question inside that array. So this is the one that we will be accessing to get the question. So after we have done the computed property, it will select for us one question with the index that we have. Then that question is the one that we are going to display. So you do current question dot question. That is the reason why we are doing that. So I would like to remove what I've just done here, the return, so such that we just have our values displaying the way they are supposed to, and it seems as if we have a problem. So let me check. Maybe we can inspect and check the console. In the console we have an error, computed is not defined. Yes, it is true because I've forgotten to import it. So you go to not footer, just the page that we quiz.view, and above here we are going also, apart from importing ref from view, we are also going to import computed like that, and then now you save, and I think that error is cleared out. So we have the question who created Laravel, and probably the questions that we have, if they will not be having the question mark, we can be able to just add the question mark here, just hard code it like that, and then so if we are to refresh, then now we are having it like that. But in this case we are having two question marks. I do not know why that is the case. Probably there are some question marks that are coming from the database, so I just have it like that. And then since this is our question, I would like to remove the placeholder paragraph, and we just have it like that. So I will remove this. You just have the question displaying alone like that, and then I want to use this next card to be able to have our answers being listed. And so for us to be able to do that, even this one that we are having here, I will also remove like that. So what you're going to have something that looks exactly like that, and then I'm also going to remove anything related to the third heading. So the whole of this third heading I'm going to remove all of it, and then I will save. If everything is fine, we will not get an error, hopefully. Yes, so I think that one is okay. And then now inside here, because we have the current question, I also want us to have the current answers, or in other words the answers, and we are going to also get that one using props. So let me just have answers. So we can also return the current answers, and we can say, also using computed properties, so we can say const answers, and this we can say is equals to computed, and in this case we are going to check now the answers that belong to the current question. So I'm going to just write return something similar to what we have here, but now I will add the answers here. So in fact I will just copy this, everything that we have here, and then I'm going to paste it here, but I'm going to say dot answers like that, and actually this one will get us the answers. So we have the question and we have the answers, and here I'm going to have a for loop, and then we can be able to use that loop to be able to display our answers. So what we are going to do, we are going to inside this div, we're going to have v4, and we are going to say answer. Maybe we can use brackets and say answer and then the index, or maybe we can say options. Let us just call them options, and then index, or maybe answer, index, in, answers, like that. And now we can go ahead and display the answers. So inside here, probably I can, instead of using a title, we can just use this value here, and we can say answer dot answer dot answer, like that. I wanted to use options, but let's just have it like that, and let us see if we are actually able to display the answer. Yes, we are able to display the answers, but we are having a problem because it is displaying in a very imperfect way. So let me move this v4 upwards one step. We can move it here. We can move it in this div and see how it's going to display. It's also displaying it funnily. Let me remove this one. Okay, like that. And save and attempt to check. I do not know why it is not working. Yes, the answers are there, but the arrangement is not perfect. I don't know if I should move them higher and place them here. Let's see how they're going to display. Now they're displaying a little bit better. And so the questions, even as you can see, as we are refreshing, the first question is changing, and even the order of the answers is also changing. And I think that is what exactly we wanted to do. And so let us go ahead and see how we can be able to give, or in other words, select. So now we can have a selection here. When somebody clicks on this one, we say that they have clicked a specific link. I'm going to remove this href, and we just have it like that, such that we do not have issues with it. So that is our answer. And then I also want to have some buttons down here. After somebody has been able to select an answer, I want us to have a div whereby we are going to have buttons. So below here we are going to have a div where we are going to have buttons. So we have, in this button we can say next, and then we will have another button which we are going to have submit, like that. So again we have the buttons there, and probably I can be able to move these buttons a little bit up in our form. So let me just cut, and then maybe we can have them here such that they'll be somewhere. Yes, I think it's not a bad position. And then one of the buttons, maybe we can give a class of btn primary, and then this other button we can give a class of btn success, like that. And so we have nice buttons. We have nice buttons there. Next and submit. And then I also want us to be able to do a little bit of CSS, such that when we select a specific value, we can be able to have the background change appropriately. But before we do that, I want us to also go ahead and have another prop that you calculate for us the total number of questions, and then it can be able to assist us to do some other things. So I want us to have total questions. So const total questions, and these ones we are going to calculate using computed, so we can say computed in a similar fashion as we have done the others. Props dot questions dot length, and these you give us the total number of questions in our array. So it you go and check the questions object, and it you count the number of questions, and then that one can give us the total number of questions, so we can always know what is which is the last question, and so on and so forth. I would like us to also check for the selected answer. That is what I would like us to do now. But before we do that, we can have, actually above here we can have a div that tells us the position of our questions. So we can have a div like that, and we can say the current index, and if I refresh, you can see we have it as 0, but I would have loved it to be centered. So we can have a class justify content center, and then we can also have another value that we are going to put in this class. We can also use flex, so dflex like that. Let me see if, yes, our content is now centered. So we can say question, and then the question number, and then we can say out of, and then we can have the total questions, and then this current index we can just say current index +1, such that we do not get 0 out of. So current question is 1 out of 3. So in this case the total number of questions are 3. So we can be able to display them like that. And then this submit button, I want it to display only if we are at the last question. So I want us to be able to just check if the question that we are at is the last question. So I also would like to use computed property to do that, and I will still have it here. We are going to just say const is last question, and we are going to say computed, and then in a similar fashion again the arrow function, current index. So when current index, the value of the current index is the same as the props.question.length less 1, props.questions.length less 1, like that. So this will tell us that we are actually now on the last question, or handling the last question, but we have not answered it. and so that is the time I want to display this submit button. So in this case I will just be able to say v if is last question. So v if is last question, like that. V if is last question, and now you can see it's not being displayed, we only have next. And then when we click the next question, then I want us to have a method, but also this next question button should not be seen when we are answering the last question. So in this case, maybe I can also say v if is not is last question, so the negative. So if we are not in the last question, we can have the next button, but else we can be able to display it. So you display it from question 1, question 2. When now we go to question 3, the next button will not be seen, because now if we click on it, where will we be going to? We will not use it. But now I also want to have a click handler on the next button. So in this case, we can say at click, and here we can just say next question, like that. And then we are going to handle this method. So in this method that we are calling next question, I want to have a function here where we are going to handle that method. So function next question, and here we will only allow somebody to go to the next question if they have answered the current question. So in this case, we are going to first of all do something about an answer. So once we have the answers, I want us to first of all do something once the answer has been selected, once somebody has clicked on an answer. So these are our answers, and so I want it that when somebody clicks on an answer, then we can be able to do something, and then afterwards then we can be able to do more. So here I'm going to have a at click handler. So at click for the answer now, and in this case we are going to have a method. So we can say, we can call it selected option, and then we are going to pass in the index, like that. And now we are also going now to use this selected option to set the selected answer. So let us also have that method. So in this case we are having two methods. So selected function, selected option, and in this case we are going to have a method here where we are going to handle it, and we are going to have a ref which we are going to call the selected answer. So let me just put it here. I wanted to put it above there. but let I just have it here, const selected answer. And I believe we do not have anything like selected answer here, no, so that's okay. So selected answer is equals to ref. In this case currently it is null, but then we can be able to set it here. So we can say selected. Once we are able to click on an answer, we will pass the index into the selected option method, and then we can be able to access the index here. So selected answer dot value is equals to index. So in this case we will be able to set the index of the selected value. So in this case I just want to have an alert, and we are alerting the index just to see if that method of ours is working or not. So when I click this, we have 0. When I click this, next one we have 1. When I click the next one we have 2. When I click the next one we have an index of 3. So that one is working perfectly. So now that we have been able to set the selected answer, then at least we will be having a value here. So if we have a value here, then we can be able to use it. So now I want us to work on next question now, because that is what we wanted to work on initially. Now we are going to just check if the value of the selected answer is there. So we can say if selected answer dot value is not equals to null. It's not equivalent to null. So in other words, if it is not null, then it means an answer has been selected. And then I also want us to do a little bit more, and I want us to check if this selected answer is the correct answer. So I will have another if function to just check if the answer is correct. If the answer is correct, we are going to count the number of correct answers that one has selected. So I'm going to have another if function inside here. This is how we are going to check for whether the answer is correct. So we are going to check props, and then of course questions, and then we can be able to check the current index dot value, and that means now we are at the current question. And then I want us to check answers that are related to this question, where the index, or in other words, the index also is this selected answer. So answers, then selected answer, but we are going to check whether it is correct or not. So I'm going to say dot correct answer, and what am I typing? Answer, like that. So we are going to check if the correct answer is 1. So we are checking if the correct answer is 1. If that is the case, then what we are going to do, we are going to say that the answer we have gotten is the correct answer, and then we will have another ref function above here. And let me just, I do not know, it's good for me if I could be able to put them at one place. Let me just put it here. So we can say const result. So result, initially it is null, but if one selects an answer that is correct, then we will increase this result value. So in this case, I'm going to say if the answer is correct, we are going to say result dot value, and then we are going to increment it. So if we are incrementing, we will just do that. And then after that, we can also now increase the current index. Remember, the current index is currently 0. So we are increasing we are checking if selected answer is not null. So if it's not null, we are moving our index from 0 to 1 and to 2, like that. So I can say current index dot value. Also this one we are incrementing by 1, like that. And then after we increase the current index, still the selected answer, we will set it to null again, because now we have increased the index to 1. So then we can set our selected answer to null, such that in the next question we still can be able to reuse the code that we are having here. And so actually this will be able to take us to the next question. And so I would like to just attempt and see if everything is working perfectly. I'm going to save. And now our question is question 1 out of 3. And I want to click next. There's nothing that is happening. Nothing is actually happening. Let me check. There are no issues on console. Let me still refresh, because seems is an issue which is not being displayed. Even the view dev tools are not being displayed. Oh, because we have not selected. So let us select. So if we select this one, when we click next, still it's not working. Let me check, inspect. Yes, we are having an error in console. So reading correct answer. We are not able to read correct answer. So let me check it out again. In our, it seems this error is appearing from here. Selected answer, answers.selected answer, correct answer. Let me just check again. Yes, there is a problem. There is a problem here, because current index dot value, that one we are doing properly. Here we are also supposed to say dot value, because we are working on a ref value, but we are doing it on the script setup. A ref value can be referred exactly the way it is in the template, but not here. So I think that is the reason why we're having the issue. So let me refresh, and then select something here, and then next. And now you can see the questions are moving to the next page. Yes, now 3 out of 3, and now the button that we're having is submit. And then I would like us to go ahead and check something on the view dev tools. I have just selected the questions randomly, and so I want to check on result and to see what we have for result. Probably we have missed all the questions. We have layout, next option, total questions are 3 questions, result is null. So in this case, probably we have not gotten any question correct. I want to attempt again, and Inertia JS. Now you see these questions of ours are even ambiguous because we do not even know what we are looking for. So I'm just selecting like that. So let us see again under result if there's anything that we have. Yes, now under result we have 1, so meaning we have gotten 1 question correct, and I think that means whatever it is that you're doing is working perfectly. So now I want us, after we have been able to select our answers, then we can be able to calculate our result. And so once we reach the submit, I want us, when we click the submit button, we go ahead and calculate the result. So this button here, I want us to have a click handler with a method, so we can say at click calculate result, like that, and we are going to save. And then I want us to have a method here which we are going to call calculate result, and what we are actually doing this method, you will just be posting our result to the Laravel backend such that we can be able to do some manipulation there. It doesn't mean you cannot be able to do the manipulation here already, because we actually have the result. We actually have how many correct answers that have been gotten out of the total, so it's not a big issue. But let me go ahead and see if we can be able to calculate the result. Now we need to calculate the result for the last question, because the last question is not passing through. We will not click a button called next question for us to calculate the result of the last question. So I'm going to just work it here manually, and we are going to do a repetition of something that we have here. So in fact, I'm just going to copy this. This is nothing different that I'm going to type here that is different from this. I'm just going to copy this for purposes of taking care of the last question, because if we are submitting and the last question has not been calculated using this method, then we will be having an issue. So now I can be able to now go ahead and post our results, and in this case we can be able to use the method router.post. In this case we are posting to a method called results in the backend, and then we are passing in the results. And we will have it like that. And since we are passing in 2 things, probably I can use curly braces, and we have the first thing is results, and the results are actually 2 things. So we can have the score, and in this case our score, we will just set it to result.value. Then I also want to pass in the total number of questions. So in this case I will also have total questions. and here we are going to just pass the total questions method, I mean the total questions ref value, like that. And now I need to have a route that will be able to handle results. So I'm going to open web.php, and inside here I want to have another method which we are going to call results route, and since we said it's a post request, and I'm going to call the method results, and I'm going to just use this quiz controller, just this one, to process the results. It's no need of creating another controller, and I will have a method called results, like that, that way. And then I am going to open the controller and be able to, so the quiz controller, and inside here I want to have a method called results, so I can even call this create method results, and then here we are going to have request, and then we save it like that. And since illuminate HTTP request is imported here, I think we will do fine. And here I just want us to do return request all, to just see if whatever it is that we are submitting is actually submitted. So let me attempt and just go through the questions and just click on any and submit. We are having an error, so it says unhandled error during execution, uncaught reading to string, undefined reading to string. Let me check what the issue is. I think that problem should be emanating from our quiz.view. I do not know what I have wrong here. So we have results, and then we have score, and we have total questions dot value. Results, that is the method. Oh yes, I'd forgotten to have a semicolon in between. Probably that could be the reason why we're having a problem. So let me refresh again and attempt to choose. I do not know what these things I'm choosing. Eventually, once we will be working on something, we'll be able to know. So now you see the results. The score is 1 out of 3. And now in our controller method, I would like us to do calculation of percentages and maybe do something sort of like a grading system to be able to display whatever it is that we have as our percentage or something. So let us go ahead and do that. And so I would like to just save whatever it is that we are having here. So in our quiz controller, I would like to see how we will be able to pass these results. Now we we have two things that you'll be getting from there. So I want us to check for request score and see if we can be able to return the score. So I'll be able to just do the same again and check. So choose the first one, the next answer, the next answer, and then the next answer, submit. We are not getting anything, so meaning this one is not being able to get us our values. So let me just first of all check for the values like that and see if we're going to have them. So submit and define the key score. I want to just be able to check for results, not score, results, like that. So request results, and then so again choose for the first question, the second question, the third question, and yes, now we are able to check the score is null. And in this case I would like to modify something regarding the score. The score should start at 0, not null, because now when we go to work on it on the other side, we will have a problem if we are sending null. So our initial score, our initial result ref 0, like that. I think that is perfect. So if we get no correct answer, we can be able to just have it like that. And now let us go back and be able to get the values. So inside the quiz controller, I can be able to check the results and then get the score. Let me see if this will give us the score. So I refresh again, choose the first option, the second one, the third one, and submit, and we are getting 1, so we are getting the score. So this I'm going to save it as score in a variable score, and then total questions, we'll be able to use something similar. So we copy this and paste it here, and we are going to call it total questions, like that, and here we will have total questions, like that. And I would like to return this one and see if to be able to give us what we want. So again, we will go through the questions and click on them and click on them up until the end. And now it's telling us the total questions are 3, and that one is very factual. So now I want us to go ahead and be able to calculate the percentage. So we are going to now be able to calculate the percentage. So here we are going to do percentage. Remember how I've presented the data is what has forced me to access it like this, yet still there are so many other ways in which you can be able to do this. So don't limit yourself, just work with it the way you usually work with it in Laravel. Now I want us to calculate percentage, and we are going to have a variable called percentage. And we are going to use sale to just round off and then continue like that. So we are going to have score divided by the total questions, and then we are going to multiply by 100, and that will give us a percentage. And then I want us also to be able to have a comment. So once somebody has been able to answer the question, we can be able to give a comment, and we can give a comment based on the percentage that they got. And so I'm going to use PHP match, and so we will be able to have it like this, and then we are going to have the values. So for percentage, values that are greater than or equals to 80, and less than 100, percentage less than or equals to 100. So for this one, I'm going to give a comment over congratulations, and then we will go to the other cases. And so I would just like to copy what we have here, just paste downwards, we paste for the next value. So we can be able to check for between 60 and 80, 60 and 60 and 79, and then we are going to paste again for values 40 and 59. So 40 and 59, and then we are going also to paste for below 40. So in this case, just less than 40, less than 40, and this one we do not have the upper limit, just whatever it is, and it is less than 39, I think, because 40 already we have it catered up there. So for this one, I want us to just have a comment, something of this sort. We will say oh, for somebody who is under 40, and then for between 40 and 59 we can say almost there, and then for between 60 and 79 we can say impressive, like that. And then of course we will have the default. The default is going to be in case somebody reaches this page and maybe we do not even know how they reached here. How? You can ask them, well, how did you reach here? think that comment of ours should be okay. And then now I can be able to go ahead and now return a view which we have not created. So I will say return inertia, or in other words inertia render, and then what I have is a page that we are going to create that is called result, and we are going to pass in the percentage and the comment. So inside here we will have percentage, which will be the variable percentage that we have created up there, and then we have comment, which will be equivalent to the variable comment that we have above there, like that. So let me go ahead and create the page that we are going to call result. So inside pages I want to create another file which we are going to call result.view, and inside here obviously we are going to have script setup, and then we are also going to have template, and then inside the script setup the first thing we are going to import is the layout. Import layout from shared layout.view, and then of course we are going to wrap it here, layout, like that. And then after that I also would like to have define props. Define props. In this case we are going to have a percentage, and percentage I think is a number, the data type, and then we are going to have comment, and this one I believe is a string, and then we will have it like that. And then inside here I would like to copy a hero from our pages again, the bootstrap examples. Now I would just like to pick one of the heroes, and then we will use it. So open with Visual Studio Code. Yes, I will just copy exactly this one, similar to the one that we're having in the first page, and then I'm going to paste it in our result.view. So we are going to paste it here, and then I will remove the image. The image here I will remove. Probably if you want to use it you can be able to use it. And here I'm going to have the comment, so we'll just say comment, and then inside here we can be able to have the percentage, so we can say your score is, and we can be able to just pass in the percentage like that, and maybe outside here we can be able to just put the percentage sign to just hard code it like that. And so the buttons not necessary, the buttons are not necessary, but you can also have a link that takes you back to the other pages. So let me just remove this div like that, and we have it like that. And I'm having an error, so meaning probably I'm having excess divs 1, 2 and 3 closing, so I remove this one also. This one, yes, I think that one is good. And now I was having an error, now the error is not there, and I just want to have a result in our header. So maybe we can have another link which we are going to call result. So let me just open it here. Just copy. And we are going to have it like that. And probably this one doesn't even really result. And here maybe result or results. And then we can also just make it an active link. There's no problem. Results. But the problem with this one is that when you click on this link, you might have a problem, because now you will have nothing to show. So when we have it, we have the results also, but when you click on this one, you're going to get into a problem because it actually supports a post method. And in this case, I would like us to handle that problem. And what we are going to do is that in our routes, we are going to have a fallback route. So in this case, I'm going to have a fallback route such that when somebody clicks on results, because there's nothing that you'll be able to show them, they must be forwarded to that page after they have been able to do the quiz. So I'm going to just say route fallback. And sometimes also in a Laravel application, you can be able to use this fallback to just be able to handle any other eventualities. If somebody clicks on a route that is not existent, they can be able to be forwarded to maybe another place where they can maybe get information. So return Inertia, welcome. Now in this case our page is result. Now we can return them to our home page. Is it home page or what page is it? Yes, home, like that. And I think that should be good enough. So I want us to go back and try and click on result. Now it is returning us to home, even if we click on that link. So we still are returned to the home page, even if it seems as if we have gone to the results. So that one is okay to be able to handle the challenge for us. I want to check and see if we can be able to answer a quiz and be able to display our results. So let me just check and then submit. Now you see our score is 34%. That is good enough. In our next tutorial, because this one has become too big, we will be able to work on a few things, and maybe it will just be now the last episode, because I would just want us to work on the pages. When you're on this page, we want it to be written here which page we are, the sort of like the meta tag using the inertia head. And then also I will also want to also give a color to the selected answer, and then that will be it about these tutorials. Thank you very much for following up until this place. This one has been an extremely long video.